This is a water filtration canister that was in the basement. You can see there's supposed to be a valve here, and a valve over here. Actually, it's the other way around. This must be turned. Okay, so the water meter is over this way, which is all corroded and full of white stuff. There's a pipe that's cut off on the other side that looks like it might have fed one of these at one time that I don't know where it went. There's white stuff coming off there and going down. It could be sediment. It could be anything. Who knows? Some of this is corrosion. The knuckle was broken. It was leaking. But I was told that at one point they had something buried on the side of the house that was full of poison, pumping poison into this and then feeding it this way. Then you have the canister over here. The valve right there has been melted off by something. That's this. So you can't turn it off. Okay? Some kind of acid was used to melt that away. This valve and that valve up there are completely fine. So the water comes in from over here, flows into this pipe right here, and then into the canister. If you want to turn the canister off and bypass it, on mine you could. You could turn it off here, and the water would run up and go this way, and then around. Okay? So, as long as these were open. If these are closed, then water's not going to go at all. So this feeds the shower and the hot water heater and then the laundry and everything else. So the water comes in, it goes through the canister, it gets contaminated, and then pushed through to the rest of the house going up this pipe, going up the pipe on the far side. So this down here, you start getting sick. Okay, so you have all these different symptoms. You're in pain all the time. You can't think straight. You're nervous. Your stomach hurts sometimes, not all of the time. Your kidneys hurt. Your back hurts. You feel like you got the flu. Your eyes get all red. Your face turns red sometimes. You get rashes. All kinds of weird stuff. I mean, it feels like you have the flu basically every day of the year. You're in physical pain constantly. Everything that's washed in the entire house gets covered in poison. The counters, the floors, the table, the sinks, the dishes, everything gets covered in contaminated water. That contaminated water is then all over you every day, making you sick and you don't know why. The only way to get healthy again is to get away from it. So this is all full of stuff. This is all full of stuff. And then this thing was full of stuff. I figured it out because my kidney started hurting after I drank water and I couldn't sleep. It didn't make sense that my kidney was hurting more just from drinking water. That shouldn't have done it to me. And then, why am I getting bladder irritation just from ordinary water? So, not only that, but somebody actually defecated in the toilet below it to kind of give me a clue. And when I found that, then I figured it out because I looked at it all and I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. So when I couldn't get it apart, the key was there, but it was on so tight I couldn't get it apart. And when I got it apart, white stuff started coming out the side, which is over here on this side, down low. I drilled holes in mine so that it couldn't be used anymore and shut the valve off. Turned this so that the valve would be in the off position so it would be bypassed so I could still have water. Now if they turn this back on, then water would just come spitting out here so it could not be used anymore. It was the only way to stop them. And they do this for life insurance. When they're done, they simply get rid of the bottom part or replace it from here, from the two nuts right there. Take that one out, put a new one in. They can clean all this. It's all plastic. So they can clean it out. and get rid of it, run the water through the system and clean it out. The only problem, like in my case, would be the hot water heater. They'd have to replace that, but that's still only a couple $100. You're talking about a lot of money in life insurance that they're going to be getting for getting rid of you. So to them, it's not that big of a deal to clean it all up and to get rid of all the evidence. And realistically, somebody has to be looking for the evidence in order to find it, and most people aren't. They just assume that the person had cancer or um, whatever other disease that it was deemed as, when in the background this is going on. Doctors don't check for poison when you go into the emergency room or into the hospital or when people are sick, and they just die, and then family collects. So he's going downstairs to do laundry, change the cat litter boxes, say that he's cleaning up or looking for something, and he's spiking the canister, washing the meat off in the sink to get the grease off of it and running the water over it, and he's poisoning it all. He doesn't have to be standing at the stove with the poison or have it on his person. He could have it hidden someplace else, like out in the garage, come in with a small dose, put it into the canister, and now that's contaminated. After a while, you don't even really have to refill it when you think about it, because it's in the hot water. So that's, it's in the heater, in the hot water heater. Once it's in there, I mean, it's going to sit down at the bottom and just keep contaminating over and over again, um, because it's down at the bottom. There was white stuff all over the nozzle, the drain nozzle for the hot water heater. So, and like I say, it looks like it's sediment or lime. You don't really know. And the samples that I had were taken. Which if there was nothing wrong with it, then why take the samples? Same with the shower head. I had the shower head with me, and that was taken also up in New York. So, there's a large amount of deaths up in New York right now with the virus, and the symptoms are pretty damn close, if not exactly the same. Pain, inflammation, sick, not feeling good. You can't breathe. You can get pneumonia, pulmonary embolism, organ shutdown, organ failure, heart attack, stroke, all the signs of those things. Your sugar going up and down if you're diabetic. So it's definitely gives you something to think about, because people have these in their houses, under their sinks, in behind hidden what are those things, like doorways to their pipes and stuff like that that they use. You don't think about them. You just don't. I think one of these might have been under the sink at my grandma's house, and my dad found one of these back when I was a little girl. The guy that I reported already that he killed, he said one of these was in the water line going to our apartment only. So you had all these different pipes for the different apartments, and one of these was on one of them, and it was for ours. So the guy was poisoning us. So that's basically what this is. And they took the house away, and now I'm homeless because I found it, and they didn't want me to. I wasn't supposed to figure it out. I was just supposed to lay down and die for them.